Ever realize that the typical American household tosses more than $1,500 a year straight into the trash on groceries they never actually needed? Seriously, about $1,500 gone simply because of buying products that quietly drain your wallet. In a lot of cases, these are the kinds of purchases people make without understanding how money really works. I'm about to break down 12 grocery store items that are deliberately set up to pull cash out of your pocket with almost no resistance. If any of these are regularly landing in your cart, you're unknowingly buying into one of the largest retail tricks ever created. Here's the uncomfortable truth. Grocery stores aren't on your side. They aren't charities. They're profit-driven machines built to squeeze every possible dollar from shoppers. And with food prices climbing 2.8% higher than last year, they're raking in record earnings while families struggle just to keep the fridge stocked. Some of the products I'm about to call out come with markups that reach 4,000%. No exaggeration, 4,000%. By the end of this video, the way you shop for groceries will completely change, and you'll start keeping more of your money exactly where it should be, in your pocket. But let's be honest, most people will hear this, nod along, and then change absolutely nothing. So here's the real question. Are you going to blend in with everyone else? Or are you finally going to make smarter choices with your money? Number 1. Pre-cut fruits and vegetables. Let me paint a picture for you that honestly made my jaw drop. Just last week, I walked into my neighborhood grocery store and spotted a small container of pre-cut watermelon priced at $6.99. Sitting right beside it was a whole, untouched watermelon for $3.99. Same fruit. Same size. The only difference? Someone spent about 5 minutes chopping it up, and suddenly the price nearly doubled. And this isn't some rare fluke or one-off mistake. This exact pricing trick is happening across the entire produce section with nearly every pre-cut fruit and vegetable on the shelf. Industry data backs this up too. On average, you're paying roughly 40% more just so someone else can do a little knife work for you. Here's the part that really gets my blood boiling. Grocery stores love to justify this with phrases like convenience and labor costs. Convenience and labor costs? Give me a break. The actual labor involved amounts to maybe 30 cents of minimum wage work per container. Yet they're comfortably tacking on an extra $3 to $4 because they know exactly how this plays out. You're busy, you're exhausted, and convenience feels worth the price. What they don't mention is that the moment produce is cut, it starts losing nutrients. Then it sits under harsh fluorescent lights, dries out faster, loses freshness, and usually spoils way sooner than whole fruits and vegetables ever would. So you're paying more for food that's actually worse. Now here's where people who think ahead flip the script. There are 2 incredibly effective strategies that can save you hundreds of dollars every single month. First, set aside just 20 minutes on Sunday for meal prep. Put on a Netflix show you like, grab a cutting board, and prep your fruits and veggies for the week. Not only will your food be fresher and cheaper, but the process is surprisingly calming once you get into it. The second strategy really catches people off guard. Head straight to the frozen aisle. Frozen fruits and vegetables are harvested at peak ripeness, flash frozen to preserve nutrients, already chopped for convenience, and typically cost about 60% less than those overpriced fresh pre-cuts. On top of that, they last for months instead of days. And here's the kicker. Grocery store executives absolutely hate this approach because it completely wrecks the profit margins on one of their most reliable cash cows. Number 2. Bottled water. And this is where things cross from ridiculous into genuinely disturbing. No exaggeration, I mean that in the most literal sense. If you think that clear plastic bottle holds clean, pure water, you might want to sit down. A recent, eye-opening study from Columbia University and Rutgers University revealed something that's hard to ignore. Researchers discovered that the average liter of bottled water contains roughly 240,000 microscopic plastic particles. Let that sink in. Nearly 250,000 tiny pieces of plastic swirling around in every bottle you drink. And here's the part that makes it even worse. That number is 10 to 100 times higher than what earlier studies reported, simply because scientists can now detect extremely small fragments known as nanoplastics. Once they figured out how to see them, the real scale of the problem became impossible to hide. Unfortunately, the story doesn't end there. These plastic particles are now being found inside human lungs, breast milk, and even placental tissue. Think about that for a second. We're literally introducing plastic into the bodies of unborn babies before they even take their first breath. Meanwhile, the bottled water industry couldn't care less. They're cashing in hard because that $2 bottle of water cost them about 5 cents to produce. That's a markup of roughly 4,000%. You're paying around 40 times more for water that, in many cases, is nothing more than filtered tap water. Now, with a bonus serving of plastic contamination. Here's the detail that truly blew my mind. Newer research shows that bottled water often contains higher levels of microplastics than regular tap water. So you're spending thousands of percent more just to drink water that's actually more polluted than what flows out of your kitchen faucet for nearly free. The fix couldn't be simpler. Spend 30 bucks on a decent water filter, grab a reusable stainless steel bottle, and stop draining your bank account while slowly poisoning yourself. Your body and your wallet will both be better off. Number 3. Fresh bakery items. And this one is seriously going to mess with your head. You know that warm, irresistible smell that hits you when you pass the grocery store bakery? The one that instantly makes you crave a chocolate croissant or a gooey cookie. Here's the wild part. That smell often isn't coming from real baking at all. Many major grocery chains now use synthetic scent machines that release artificial bakery aromas throughout the store. And this isn't just a theory. It works frighteningly well. According to data from the Scent Marketing Institute, when the scent of fresh bread was artificially circulated in a grocery store, bakery sales tripled. Tripled. They're not just tempting you. They're chemically nudging your brain into spending more money. Now here's the part most people never think about. Those freshly baked cookies, muffins, and cakes carry profit margins close to 60%. Let that sink in. If you hand over $4 for a muffin, the store pockets roughly $2.40 of that. That's not a small markup. That's borderline theft with a smile. And the only reason they get away with it is because your sense of smell has been completely hijacked. Studies show that certain scents cause shoppers to linger longer in stores and make extra, unplanned purchases. Grocery stores understand this perfectly. They aren't just selling bread or pastries, they're selling a carefully engineered emotional moment. So what do people who are paying attention do instead? 2 simple moves. First, check the day-old bakery section. Same exact items, often marked down 50%, and surprise, they still taste fantastic. Second, grab the Just Add Water or Just Add Eggs baking mixes. A $2 box of brownie mix makes about the same amount as a $12 bakery tray without the absurd markup. Some brands even partner with grocery chains to pump dessert scents, like cheesecake, into the air to trigger impulse buys. Make no mistake, this is psychological warfare on your wallet. The difference now is that you know it's happening, and once you see the trick, it stops working. Number 4. Name brand spices. And this one honestly made me angry when I saw it firsthand. Just last week, I grabbed a tiny bottle of McCormick oregano at a regular grocery store, the kind that's barely bigger than your thumb. The price? $3.49. A few minutes later, I stopped by a nearby Indian grocery store and picked up the same amount of oregano for 37 cents. That's not a small markup. That's close to a 1,000% price difference for the exact same spice. Branded spices are some of the worst offenders in the entire store, often carrying markups of 100% or more. But the real problem isn't just the price, it's what you're actually getting for that money. Here's the part that most people don't realize. Those neat little spice bottles lining grocery store shelves have usually been sitting there for months, sometimes even years. By the time you buy them, the flavor and potency are long gone. At that point, you're basically sprinkling tinted dust onto your food. Meanwhile, the spice industry itself is booming. In 2025 alone, it's grown into a $28.84 billion market, yet grocery stores continue selling the oldest, weakest, and most overpriced versions available. That paprika you bought 6 months ago? There's a good chance it tasted like cardboard the very day it left the shelf. And here's where it gets even more ridiculous. The global spice market is expanding at nearly 9% per year and is projected to reach $59 billion by 2032. Despite that growth, grocery chains keep pushing stale, overpriced bottles simply because most shoppers don't know there's a better option. Meanwhile, ethnic markets, Indian, Middle Eastern, Asian grocery stores, and bulk food shops are selling spices that were imported weeks ago, not years ago. Their inventory moves fast, which means the spices are fresher, stronger, and dramatically cheaper. We're talking prices so low, they'd make big grocery executives panic. So here's the smart move. Walk right past the spice aisle at regular grocery stores. Find a local ethnic market. Every city has at least one. Whenever possible, buy whole spices since they last longer and deliver better flavor. If you really want to level up, buy in bulk and store them in airtight containers. You'll end up with richer tasting food, spend far less money, and avoid one of the grocery industry's most profitable traps. That $3 bottle of oregano? At the right store, that same money can buy you enough oregano to last an entire year. Number 5. Organic everything. This is where grocery stores really start playing games with both your money and your health. The organic food industry has ballooned into a 52 billion plus market, and on average, you're paying about 20% more just for that small green label slapped on the packaging. What's truly alarming, though, is that most people buying organic have no idea when it actually matters, and when they're just lighting cash on fire. Let me share something that really puts this into perspective. Just yesterday, the Environmental Working Group released its 2024 Dirty Dozen list, and the results are unsettling. About 95% of the foods on that list were found to be coated in pesticides, with more than 50 different chemicals detected on each item. Take strawberries, for example. Tests have shown they can contain up to 23 separate chemical residues, even after being washed. 23. That's not fresh produce, that's a science lab disguised as fruit. Now here's where the story takes a sharp turn. The same report found that nearly 65% of the clean 15 fruits and vegetables had no detectable pesticide residue at all. That means people are paying extra for organic avocados and sweet corn, even though less than 2% of conventional samples showed any pesticide presence. In other words, you're paying a premium for virtually no added benefit. The most unsettling detail? 4 of the 5 most commonly detected chemicals are fungicides known to interfere with human hormone systems. These aren't even used to help plants grow. They're applied after harvest to keep produce looking shiny and perfect under store lights. Essentially, they're cosmetic chemicals that may interfere with your thyroid and reproductive health. Here's the smart, money-saving approach the organic industry rarely talks about. Buy organic only for items on the Dirty Dozen, things like strawberries, spinach, and kale, where it actually makes a measurable difference. For clean 15 foods, such as avocados, sweet corn, and pineapple, stick with conventional and keep your money. Using this strategy alone can cut your organic grocery bill in half while still shielding your family from the worst chemical exposure. Ignore the marketing noise, shop with intention, and start making organic purchases that actually matter. Number 6. Single-serve snacks. This one honestly floored me when I saw it play out in real time. Just last week, I was standing in line at the grocery store behind a mom with 2 kids. Her cart was packed with individual snack packs. You know exactly what I mean. Tiny bags of goldfish, single-serve Oreo sleeves, mini chip bags, all of it. When she checked out, I did a double take. Her total for snacks alone came out to $47. Out of curiosity, I ran the numbers when I got home. If she had bought the exact same snacks in bulk sizes instead, the total would have been about $18. That's a 161% markup, not for better food, but simply for the convenience of having someone else divide it up. And this problem keeps getting worse over time. Snacks that cost $6.54 in 1977 now run about $32.17 in 2025, but single-serve portions are increasing in price even faster than standard inflation. The global snack industry is now valued at roughly $692.5 billion and is projected to grow at 4.2% per year. And what's fueling that growth? Plain and simple, convenience dependency. Companies are betting big on the idea that you won't take 2 minutes to portion snacks yourself. Let me hit you with some numbers that really sting. A box of individual goldfish crackers, the tiny bags that disappear in 3 bites, costs around $8.99 for roughly 10 ounces of crackers. Meanwhile, a family-size bag of the same brand costs about $4.49 for 30 ounces. That works out to nearly 600% more per ounce just because the crackers were put into smaller bags. And those little pretzel packs tossed into lunchboxes? You're paying about $1.25 for a portion that costs maybe 15 cents when bought from a bulk container. Here's what really frustrates me. Families convince themselves these pre-portioned snacks are necessary for portion control. They're not. Your kids don't need a billion-dollar snack company teaching them how to count crackers. What you actually need is a $5 set of reusable containers and a few minutes of effort. Buy the large bags, portion them out yourself, and stop letting massive corporations assume you're incapable of basic math. On average, families who rely on single-serve snacks are throwing away over $800 every year compared to buying in bulk. That's not pocket change. That's a car payment. Number 7. Pre-marinated meat. Picture this for a second. You're standing in the meat aisle, and your eyes lock onto those glossy packages of marinated chicken. One promises honey garlic goodness, another shouts teriyaki perfection. They look polished, effortless, and, no surprise, priced way higher than everything around them. But here's what's really going on behind the curtain, and once you hear it, you won't unsee it. That pre-marinated chicken breast you're about to toss into your cart often carries a markup of up to 60% compared to plain meat. 60%. Let's break that down in real numbers. A pound of regular chicken breast might cost around $4.99. That exact same piece of chicken, soaked in a marinade that cost maybe 50 cents to make, suddenly jumps to $7.99. You're literally paying an extra $3 because someone poured sauce on it. And unfortunately, it doesn't stop there. Here's the part grocery stores really don't want you thinking about. Pre-marinated meats fall into the same problem category as processed meats when it comes to sodium. The CDC has repeatedly warned that excessive sodium intake raises blood pressure and increases the risk of heart disease and stroke. This isn't just about deli meat. Many pre-marinated chicken breasts and steaks are absolutely loaded with salt. Some contain 800 milligrams of sodium per serving. That's over a third of your entire recommended daily limit in a single piece of meat. Why so much salt? Because sodium is cheap, it preserves food, boosts flavor, and makes you crave more. From a profit standpoint, it's the perfect ingredient. Even with beef prices expected to stay high through at least mid-2025 due to droughts, shrinking herds, and rising production costs, people are still throwing money at these overpriced shortcuts. And the industry knows it. The North American fresh processed meat market is projected to explode from $14 billion in 2023 to an estimated $145 billion by 2032. They're cashing in, while shoppers pay more for less control. Here's the simple move that can save you hundreds of dollars a year. Make your own marinade. It takes 5 minutes. Seriously. Grab some olive oil, garlic, herbs, maybe a splash of soy sauce or lemon juice. Mix it, toss your meat into a bag, and you're done. You just saved $3 and likely cut your sodium intake in half. And the best part? Homemade marinades taste better. You choose the flavors. You decide how much salt goes in. You control your spending. Every time you buy pre-marinated meat, you're paying someone else for 2 minutes of work using ingredients you already have. That's like paying a restaurant to make you a peanut butter sandwich. Don't do it. Your wallet will thank you. Your blood pressure will thank you. And your taste buds will absolutely notice the difference. The next time you see those flashy marinated packages, remember this. That's not convenience. It's a convenience tax. And you're smarter than that. Number 8. Superfoods in tiny packages. And honestly, this one really gets under my skin because the marketing is so slick. Picture yourself cruising down the health food aisle when you spot these small, minimalist bags covered in phrases like superfood, ancient wisdom, and time-tested nutrition. One shelf has a tiny pouch of goji berries for $12. Right next to it is a jar of maca powder for $18. And naturally, you think, well, if it costs this much, it must be incredible for me. Nope, completely wrong. Here's the truth they conveniently leave out. The FDA has never recognized or approved the term superfood. It isn't a scientific category. It's not regulated. It's pure marketing magic. Companies can slap that word on practically anything and instantly justify charging 3 times more. Let's talk real numbers for a second. That little 8-ounce bag of organic goji berries? About $12.95 at Walmart, which works out to more than $25 per pound. Meanwhile, blueberries, loaded with antioxidants, run about $4 per pound. Same story with blackberries, strawberries, and even frozen mixed berries. All nutrient-dense. All dramatically cheaper. and the hype keeps accelerating. Over the past 4 years, usage of the word superfood in marketing has jumped by more than 300%. That's not because these foods suddenly became healthier, it's because marketing budgets went into overdrive. Here's the irony that really seals it. Goji berries have been used in traditional Chinese diets and medicine for centuries. In China, they're just berries. You can buy them cheaply at local markets. But once they cross the Pacific, get repackaged, and stamped with a trendy label, they magically turn into ancient superfoods worth their weight in gold. The real secret? The actual nutritional heavy hitters are everyday foods you already recognize. Organic fruits and vegetables, nuts, seeds, legumes, and whole grains. They deliver serious health benefits without the inflated price tag of maca powder or boutique berries. And here's something that might surprise you. Some lab studies on breast and liver cancer cells suggest goji berries may help the body destroy cancer cells. But these are early, preliminary findings. You know what else has shown similar effects in lab studies? Regular berries, leafy greens, and dozens of common foods that cost a fraction of the price. I'm not saying goji berries are bad. They're fine. They're berries. But paying $25 a pound for something nutritionally comparable to $4 blueberries means you're buying packaging, branding, and Instagram aesthetics, not superior health. So here's your move. Walk past the tiny, overpriced packages. Stock up on blueberries, spinach, carrots, sweet potatoes, and other everyday produce. These are the real nutritional powerhouses, and they've been nourishing families for generations. No flashy labels required. And that brings us to the final category. Products that sound premium and sophisticated but are really just ordinary items wearing an absurd price tag. Energy drinks and fancy coffees. Number 9. Energy drinks and fancy coffee. And trust me, this one will jolt you awake harder than any overpriced caffeine ever could. Because we're talking about the so-called liquid gold scam that empties your wallet faster than you can say venti caramel macchiato. Picture a typical Monday morning. You're exhausted, half asleep, shuffling through the grocery store. You grab a Monster Energy for $3.50, then swing by Starbucks and drop another $5 on a cold brew. Just like that, $8.50 is gone before 9 a.m. Now let's do some quick math that hurts a little. If you buy one energy drink and one specialty coffee 3 times a week, that's $25.50 every week. Multiply that by 52 weeks, and you're staring at $1,326 a year. And unfortunately, that's just the beginning. That energy drink you grabbed? It can contain up to 20 teaspoons of sugar, which is about 78 grams in a single can. For context, the recommended daily sugar limit is 24 grams for women and 36 grams for men. One drink alone blows past that, sometimes by 3 times. Here's the part nobody likes to talk about. The $22 billion energy drink industry has rebranded itself as wellness. Labels now boast phrases like natural caffeine and added vitamins, all while delivering more sugar than a candy bar. It's marketing sleight of hand, and it works frighteningly well. Now let's look at your coffee habit. A basic Starbucks cold brew starts around $4, and the nitro version can hit $5 or more. $5 for coffee, plus bubbles. Meanwhile, a 40-ounce container of ground coffee costs about $10 and makes roughly 100 cups. That's 10 cents per cup at home versus $5 per cup at the cafe, a markup of nearly 5,000%. What really keeps me up at night is the health side of this. Research consistently links high-sugar beverages to weight gain, increased risk of type 2 diabetes, heart disease, and even gout. You're not just overpaying, you're paying top dollar to harm your body. I had a friend who was spending about $15 a day on energy drinks and coffee shop runs. That adds up to over $5,000 a year. When I showed him the numbers, his face went pale. He thought he was treating himself. In reality, he was buying a used car every year, in liquid form. Here's your reality check. Making cold brew at home takes 5 minutes of effort. Coffee grounds, cold water, let it sit overnight. Done. You end up with coffee concentrate that lasts a week for under $2. Need a clean energy boost? Try green tea with lemon. Or here's a radical idea. Sleep better and drink water. If you want caffeine without the sugar crash, buy a solid coffee maker and make one smart investment that saves you thousands. If you want real energy without health risks, fix your sleep, eat real food, and move your body. The energy drink and specialty coffee industries are betting you'll never stop to do the math. They're counting on morning brain fog to keep you buying liquid sugar at luxury prices. Don't give them the win. And speaking of liquid money drains, let's move on to something that somehow makes coffee prices look reasonable. Number 10 is the one that completely flips the meat department on its head. Fair warning. Once this clicks, those brightly colored, pre-marinated chicken packages are going to look very different to you. Picture a familiar scene. You're rushing through the grocery store after work, tired and hungry. You spot those glossy trays of teriyaki chicken thighs, perfectly seasoned and ready to cook. Right beside them are plain chicken thighs that look boring. The marinated ones are only $3 more, so it feels like an easy choice. Why not pay a little extra and save time, right? Here's what grocery stores would rather you not think about. Those pre-marinated meats often come with a markup of up to 60% compared to plain cuts. 60% for what is usually less than 50 cents worth of marinade ingredients. You're paying a premium just because someone mixed sauce with meat. But the money is only part of the problem. What's actually inside that marinade is where things get uncomfortable. Recent investigations show that many grocery store marinades are loaded with sodium, sometimes over 800 milligrams per serving. That's more than a third of your recommended daily intake, and that's just from the marinade alone. And it doesn't stop there. Processed meats that contain preservatives have been linked to higher risks of heart disease, obesity, certain cancers, and type 2 diabetes. Those bold, vibrant colors you see in some marinades? They often come from artificial dyes and preservatives designed to make the meat look fresher than it really is. Here's a detail most shoppers never hear. A former grocery store meat department manager once told me that pre-marinated meats are frequently used to sell cuts that are getting close to their sell-by date. Strong flavors, heavy seasoning, and bright colors help mask subtle changes in smell or appearance. Let's look at real numbers from this week. At a major grocery chain, plain chicken breasts were priced at $4.99 per pound. The same chicken, pre-marinated in Hawaiian teriyaki, was $7.99 per pound. That's a 60% price increase for a marinade that cost the store maybe 30 cents to make. Here's the part that makes this whole thing ridiculous. Making your own marinade takes about 3 minutes. Not chef-level nonsense, just basic ingredients. Olive oil, soy sauce, garlic powder, and a touch of honey or brown sugar. Mix it in a bowl, toss the meat into a zip-top bag, pour it in, done. Add herbs if you want to get fancy. 4 minutes, tops. And the upside, you control everything. The salt. The ingredients. No artificial colors. No mystery preservatives. No chemicals you can't pronounce. I switched to doing this myself about 6 months ago, and my grocery bill dropped by roughly $40 a month from this change alone. That's nearly $500 a year, and the food honestly tastes better because it's made with fresh ingredients, not sauce that's been sitting in plastic for who knows how long. So here's your challenge. Next time you're in the meat aisle, compare the price per pound of plain meat versus the pre-marinated version. Do the math. Then ask yourself one simple question. Is 3 minutes of mixing ingredients really worth paying 60% more? And speaking of things that look convenient but quietly drain your money, let's move on to something sitting in almost every shopping cart right now. Number 11. Individual yogurt cups. And yeah, this one stings a little. Let me walk you through a scenario that might permanently change how you see the dairy aisle. Meet Sarah. She's hustling through Target, checking off her grocery list. She grabs a 6-pack of individual Greek yogurt cups and drops it into her cart. The price tag says $8.99. Feels reasonable. No red flags. Except here's what Sarah doesn't realize. She just paid nearly $15 per pound for yogurt. That exact same yogurt in a large tub? Around $4.50 per pound. Individual yogurt cups routinely cost 2 to 5 times more than buying the same product in a bigger container. That's not an exaggeration. You're literally paying up to 5 times the price just so someone else can portion it for you. Let's do a little math that hurts. If you eat 1 yogurt cup per day, which is pretty normal, you're spending roughly $300 more every year compared to buying large tubs and portioning it yourself. $300, gone. That's a weekend getaway sacrificed for pre-measured dairy. And here's the part that really drives me nuts. Each single-serve yogurt cup creates about 6 times more packaging waste than scooping yogurt from a large container. Bigger tubs use significantly less packaging per serving, which makes them far better from a sustainability standpoint too. Now, I know the argument, portion control. But let's be honest. If a large container of yogurt is too tempting, the issue isn't the container size. And here's the wild solution. Small reusable containers cost about $2. You portion it once, and you're done. Mind-blowing, right? Here's the simple plan. Buy the big tub. Pick up a few small glass jars, or even those fancy parfait cups people love. Portion your yogurt when you get home. You'll spend less, cut down on plastic waste, and likely get fresher yogurt since large containers sell faster and don't sit around as long. And if you think individual yogurt cups are a ripoff, just wait. Because the final category takes convenience pricing to a whole new level. Number 12. Specialty diet foods. We've officially reached the final boss of grocery store ripoffs, those trendy diet products wrapped in fancy labels. And honestly, this one genuinely irritates me because it preys on people who are actually trying to make healthier choices. You walk into the health food aisle and everything looks polished and premium. A box of keto-friendly granola bars for $12. Right next to it, paleo-approved crackers for $9.99. A jar of Whole30 compliant marinara sauce for $7. Here's what's really going on. Companies are taking ordinary food, slapping trendy diet buzzwords on the packaging, and then charging 2 to 3 times more for it. And unfortunately, it's working. The specialty diet food market has grown by over 40% in just the last 2 years. Let me give you a real-world example that made my jaw drop. I found a jar of keto-friendly peanut butter priced at $11. Want to know what the ingredients were? Peanuts. Salt. That's it. Regular peanut butter made with peanuts and salt sells for about $3.50. Same ingredients, same nutrition. Triple the price, purely because of a label. Those paleo-approved crackers I mentioned earlier? They're usually made from almond flour and sea salt. You can make the exact same thing at home with 2 ingredients for about a quarter of the price. But toss a caveman on the box and suddenly it's premium. Here's the truth. The diet food industry hopes you never figure out. Diets like keto and paleo are simply frameworks that eliminate certain foods, added sugars, grains, beans, and most legumes. You do not need specialty products to follow them. You need real, whole foods that have existed forever. Eating keto? Buy regular eggs, plain meat, vegetables, and cheese. Going paleo? Stick to fruits, vegetables, nuts, and unprocessed meats. These foods already fit the diets naturally. No special branding required. No inflated price tag needed. I had a friend who spent over $200 a month on Whole30 approved products during her first round. The next time around, she skipped the specialty items, bought regular whole foods, and actually read ingredient labels. Same results. Her monthly food cost dropped to $75. That's a $1,500 savings in a single year, just from ignoring marketing and using common sense. So here's your simple action step. Before buying anything labeled keto, paleo, Whole30, or any other diet buzzword, ask yourself one question. Could I make this myself with regular ingredients? The answer is almost always yes. Stop paying extra for diet marketing. Start reading ingredient lists instead. Your wallet and your real health goals will both be better off. Because at the end of the day, genuinely healthy food doesn't need flashy labels to prove it. If this helped you out, do me a quick favor, hit the subscribe button and turn on notifications. Until next time.